it's Ginger from Stamping the Cape, and I'm here with my third and final video for my May Stamp Club projects. I'm using the Geared Up Garage bundle in the Occasions catalog. It's part of the Classic Garage suite. That's some of the pieces will be retiring at the end of May. The stamps and the dies will be carrying over to the annual catalog. However, the DSP will not. The little elements will be. And you will lose that 10% bundle discount in the annual catalog if you do wait. But anyway, my other two projects featured those stamps with a couple of alternatives. I'm going to keep this one as is because I think this one could be used for Father's Day or a birthday or, you know, some type of masculine occasion. So let's get started. And this time I'm going to be using the Stamparatus for the car. I wanted to make sure that I got the tire image of the car really well stamped. So I will be using my Stamparatus. If you don't have a Stamparatus, you might want to think about getting one. If you don't care to purchase one, you just want to make sure that your stamp is really well inked. You might even want to use the foam piercing mat as extra leverage, if you will, to push that ink into your cardstock. I have re-inked my Memento pad, so I may only have to do one stamping of this, but let's see what happens. And I'm stamping it right at the top edge of this paper. This is a piece of 2 by 5.5 gray granite, and I want to be able to get my sentiment and my die cuts all done. Okay, I want to get those tires a little bit darker, so I'm going to ink up one more time. Sometimes Memento ink isn't as intense as, say, StazOn, but I'd rather use Memento. It's a little easier to clean my stamps off. StazOn is a definite permanent ink, and it's good for projects that you know, you don't want to have any deterioration. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go with that. And let's see. So let's take that off. And we'll set this aside. All right. So now on the rest of the project, I want to have enough room. I'm going to be die cutting these 3 gears. So it's this one here, and it's this pointy one here, and it's this little guy here. As you can see, I've used a lot of the different components from the dies. I've used this gear in my first one. There's lots of other extra small gears. There's the large component of gears. There's the gas can and these other elements, plus there's the car that we'll be using as well. But I want to leave some space to stamp my sentiment. And I can just stamp it down here and then cut that out, or I can stamp it over here and trim it down. But I think I'm going to go there, and hopefully I can do it first time okay. We'll see what happens. All right, I'm going to leave a little space on either end. Oh, I can trim that off. And then on this one, I'm using the word, just the word you from this sentiment. So I'm gonna, let's see, I can move my dies down to there, and I'm just gonna ink the top portion of that stamp. And I'll put it over here. So I'm gonna definitely cut that by hand. All right, so I've got my cutting, my stamping done. I'm going to do my die cutting, and I'm also going to be using the rectangled stitch framelits. I'm going to be using this one in the center here. This is, I don't know, we'll see what that measures roughly. I think that's, oh, let's see, that's about maybe 1 1/8 by, oh wait a minute, maybe that's not the one. Ooh, maybe it's this one. Hold on a sec. Thought that was the one. I want the inside. I think that is the one. Yeah. So it measures about 1 1/8 by, let's say, about 2 7/8, I think, because I think the outer frame are the full 1/4 inch sizes. So I'm going to use that. Let me get my big shot. Okay. So we're going to cut the car out. And we move our paper to where the dies want to go. Sometimes these dies have their own mindset. And where's my black piece? It's still in my packet. Let me take all my pieces. I just don't want to lose my little Brad in there. Okay, there it is. Oops, I just moved it again. Sometimes if my dies jump around too much, I use some removable adhesive just to hold it in place so it doesn't shift. So hopefully it won't shift around too much. Oh, and if I have problems with these dies, let's see, we'll put that one there, this one here, and that one, tuck that one in there. Come on. Oh gosh, Jay just don't want to cooperate. No, we don't. It's like Mexican jumping beans, I guess. Let's see, we put you down here. Okay, that looks good. All right, hopefully my car is still okay. All right, I think we're good. Fingers crossed, as I always say. I always have to keep my fingers crossed when I'm doing these videos. Okay. I'm going to just run those dies one more time through. Now what did I drop? Something always falls off this table. Oh, my scissors. I do need those. Let's see if I can get them without moving the table. There we go. Okay. So we've got that piece, my car, my gears. I think we're good to go. Oh, and before I forget, as I've said in my other videos, if you've watched them, if you place an order this month by May 30th using my host code with a $35 order or more, I'll send you the supplies for these projects. And I also forgot to mention, I also offer, I call them mermaid rewards. If you go to my blog, stampingthecape.com, you'll see I have on the left hand side a link to the mermaid rewards, and what you need to do, it's for every $50 you get to get a pearl on my mermaids, and once you've completed the form, you'll get free product of your choice. So you might want to check that out. Let's see. No, that won't fall off. We have to poke. Let me use my take your pick tool instead. Go. All right, that's our dies. Let's put those back before I lose those. I've had my dies attached to the back of my Stamparatus where the magnet is, and then I'm looking all over the place for them. I'm like, what the heck? And I go into a panic mode, so I try to stay organized a little bit. And I'm going to put this one back here just for safekeeping. All right. Okay, so we've got our 3 dies. We have our car, and that came out not too bad. I think it shifted a little bit, but it'll do. Okay, so now for these, I'm just going to cut these by hand. If you wanted to, you could cut a strip first and try to stamp it, but I'm just going to cut these by hand, and hopefully I can cut it straight enough. And I'm going to straighten this one out a bit. I'm just going to angle it both going in the same direction. There. All right, and then we're going to get my little U out. You can take that out. And this one isn't too bad because it's small, so I can follow the straight lines here. And then I'm just going to follow those angles of the lines there. There. Okay. All right. Now we can put our card together. I'm using an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of crushed curry cardstock. And then I'm going to put on a layer of basic black, which is 4 by 5 1/4. These are really, I've made these cards this month pretty quick. I've sometimes dragged out my Stamp Club folks, and they get a little anxious sometimes with what I'm trying to show them. So I decided this month we'd go a little bit simpler in design. Okay, and this piece, this is 2 by 3 3/4. This is a piece of the Designer Series paper from the suite. And this, as I said, will be retiring, and it's while supplies last. So if you like it, you may want to get it now. You can take a chance. There could be some on the clearance rack, but these are the kind of things you just never know. Okay. I think I'm just going to overlap that just a hair to make that even on this side. This is why sometimes I do like to use, I'll just line it right up there. I like to use the Memento ink because you have a chance to shift. All right, so my car is going to go on with Stampin' Dimensionals. I'll just pop some on the back if I can pick it up. I'll pop some on the back of that. Actually, I'm just going to cut a little segment off here. Make sure you use all of your Stampin' Dimensional pieces, just because you don't have the little cuts of the shapes. It doesn't mean they're not usable. Oops, I almost forgot. I got to put my little strip of Designer Series paper on first. Okay, and that goes up about, I don't know, about a 1/2 inch or so. Maybe a little bit, maybe more like 3/4 from the bottom. Hopefully I've got that straight. Okay, now my car goes on. It's going to go on over here. Partway on the tire treads. Like that. I'm just going to snail on my stitch piece. And make sure I give that plenty of room. And my geared up sentiment. You know what, I think I need to trim that. I didn't do a very good job on this side. So I can straighten that out a little bit. And that goes on with a couple of dimensionals. I'm hanging that off the edge just a little bit. Oh, you can see where I didn't cut that so straight. Why is that? Those letters must be different, I guess. That's going to bug me. Yeah. Oh well. You get the idea. I might have to pull that off afterwards. It's going to bug me. And my little U. Actually, I'm going to use just a little piece of dimensional even. I found that the mini Stampin' Dimensionals were just a bit too wide for that. So I'm just going to cut off a little strip and Stick it right there for that piece. And we'll put the U right here. Okay. Now for this gear, I was using a brad, and I do have a brad, but I thought I would show you. It's a little tricky to get this brad in this die. It doesn't quite, it fits, but it's too small. It doesn't sit there, and you gotta fiddle with the back of it and I've used a dimensional to hold it still. But so this time I'm going to do something a little different for this one. I'm going to use my, again, my metallic pearls. I used them on another project. And these kind of can look like bolts on the gears. So I thought I would change it up a little bit. And let's see, I'll put a dimensional. I'm going to use a mini dimensional on this gear. And since this one has a solid hole, I'm going to stick that one there. This one's going to go here. So kind of make it look like they kind of go together. And I'm going to use one of my pearl pieces and stick it right in the center, like a bolt in the center of that gear. And let's see, one of those fit in here? No, not quite. So we'll just stick this one on with a glue dot. If you have some other type of gem that's not too shiny or, you know, that's more masculine, you can always use that. And actually, I popped that one up. I need to pop that one up again. I'll use a mini off to the side. I just don't want it to be seen. Actually, I'm going to have to cut another piece. It's a little too big. So I'll just cut a sliver of my big one. Stick it on there. Might have to trim it a little bit. Let me just trim that in. Just don't want it sticking out. There we go. All right. Put this, kind of make it look like it's going in those gears. But I can still see that. I need tinier fingers, I think. There we go. And then this one I did just stick with a glue dot on the other side. So we'll just tuck that glue dot behind. That one can go there. I wonder, no, I even think that one's too, those holes are too open. So anyway, that's another option. And as I said, if you have many other types of, you know, elements that you can stick in there besides a brad, you might try that. But there's the projects. I hope you like the 3 projects I've done this month. And as I said, if you place an order of $35 or more, using my host code for this month by May 30th, I'll send you the supplies for the projects. If you place an order of $50 or more, you know, you might want to think about my mermaid rewards. And don't forget, we have Paper Pumpkin. It's a special Shelly kit this month. If you subscribe by May 10th, you'll get that kit. It's very organic, very earthy. Shirley likes those kind of components when she does kits. So I think that's about it. I will have one more video not related to these. Well, it is related to these. I'm going to show you a technique for creating some rusty gear elements. So if you wanted to do like an old car type thing or something like that, I'll show you how I did that on another project unrelated to my stamp club. So thanks for watching. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.